Hamas gunmen into Israel in unprecedented attack. At least 480 Israel people and Palestinians deceased. Hamas says it has taken many Israel victims captive. Israel says Hamas has launched cruel and wicked war. World condemns violence. U.S. vows support for Israel. Gunmen from the Palestinian group rampaged through Israel towns on Saturday, unaliving at least 250 citizens and escaping with dozens of hostages. More than 230 Gazans were unalive when Israel responded with one of its most devastating days of strikes. Fighting continued into the night. Prime Minister Benjamin says we will take mighty vengeance for this wicked day. Hamas launched a cruel and wicked war. We will win this war, but the price is too heavy to bear, he said. Hamas wants to murder us all. This is an enemy that murders mothers and children in their homes and their beds, an enemy that abducts elderly children and teenage girls. Hamas leader Ishmael said the assault that had begun in Gaza was spread to the West Bank and Jerusalem. Highlighted threats were said in the speech saying, "How many times have we warned you that the Palestinian people have been living in refugee camps for 75 years and you refuse to recognize the rights of our people?" Bodies of Israel civilians were strewn across the streets. The bodies of a woman and a man were sprawled across the front seats of a car. I went out, I saw loads of bodies of terrorists, civilians, cars shot up, a sea of bodies inside, along the road, other places, loads of bodies. Terrified Israeli civilians barricaded into safe rooms. Esther, a survivor attacked by the gunman, says she survived by playing dead in the car after the driver tried to help her escape, was shot point blank. Senior military officers were among those deceased in fighting near Gaza on Saturday. By 1:30 a.m., Israel troops were still clashing with Hamas fighters in some parts of southern Israel. In a briefing on social media, an Israel army spokesperson said the situation was not fully under control. In Gaza, black smoke, orange flashes, and sparks lit the skies. Crowds of mourners carried the bodies of freshly unalived militants through the streets wrapped in green Hamas flags. Gaza's deceased and wounded were carried into crumbling and overcrowded hospitals with severe shortages of medical supplies and equipment. The health ministry said 232 people have been deceased and at least 1,700 wounded. At the White House, President Joe Biden said on television that Israel had the right to defend itself and issued a blunt warning to Iran and other nations hostile to Israel. This is not a moment for any party hostile to Israel to exploit these attacks to see advantage. The world is watching. A senior Biden administrative official told reporters that the United States was working with other governments to make sure the crisis does not spread and is contained in Gaza. The escalation comes against the backdrop of surging violence between Israel and Palestinian militants in the Israel-occupied West Bank, where a Palestinian authority exercises limited self-rule opposed by Hamas that wants Israel destroyed. Palestinians were deceased and hundreds wounded in the clashes at the border into Israel, where fighters captured the crossing point and tore down fences. Some of the deceased were civilians among crowds that attempted to cross into Israel through the damaged gates. A Palestinian woman says, "We are afraid."
Since the morning, Israel has been at war. Our first goal is to clean the area from those who have infiltrated it and to return security and quiet to the areas that were attacked. The second goal, at the same time, is to exact a huge price from the enemy.